I'm gonna go I run it up in the right kind of hell. What? Nigga, shit so fucking hard, yeah. What? Herb the sad, I've been serving and the fag, I've been serving and the fab out the pen. How a nigga work around the platform and chirp around the cloud, never serving and the smell, trying to pen. I love my nigga.
Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. I want to welcome you to tonight's podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about something that is very, very prevalent in the security space. People are talking about Allied Universal for many, many reasons. A lot of them are negative, and I'm going to withhold my judgment. But today, we're going to be talking about, should you work for Allied Universal in 2024? Now, before we go any further, we should probably talk about who is Allied Universal. Now, we've all seen probably their presence anywhere and everywhere, from shopping malls to retail establishments to, you know, your local sporting teams, right? Allied Universal is an absolute juggernaut in terms of their presence throughout the security community, and that has led to a lot of negative feelings, right? They tend to be the large box retail version of private security. Anything when it comes to, you know, these larger corporations that come in and kind of swallow up the industry, whether we're talking about mom and pop shops, whether we're talking about your local gas station, anything and everything, right? These companies that come in, they have all of the money, they have all of the finance, all of the resource, and they push the little guy out. And ultimately, what most people would say and what has happened historically is that the level of quality of service goes down, right? It's not good to have a monopoly, but let's look into some of the information about Allied Universal. They have a global presence. Allied Universal Security is a prominent security service provider with a significant global presence, offering a wide range of security solutions to clients across industries. Also, they are industry leadership. Allied Universal has established itself as an industry leader, ranking among the largest security companies worldwide. And again, you know, you can boast of these accolades of being one of the largest, if not the largest company in the world in terms of private security providing. But does that mean that it's a great opportunity or even a good opportunity for those people who are looking to get into security? Now, I have often said that private security, in the wake of everything that has happened over the last, 5 years, this is one of the best and most lucrative industries. I know a lot of you guys don't believe me when I say this, but this is one of the best, most secure, no pun intended, most financially lucrative businesses in the market. With everything that has happened in the past 5 years and everything that an average person could project that is going to happen in the next 5 years, this is a great place for you to be in terms of having stability in a very unstable world and having the potential to make decent money while you're doing that. So here are some of the 5 things that I would say are issues. Okay. Now, if you are a veteran security officer, if you're a veteran security guard, if you've been doing this for a while, you have, a little bit of experience, you've got your feet underneath you, you have your certificates, your certifications. More than likely, if you're not taking a management position or a corporate role with Allied Universal, it's not going to be for you. But for those guards who are watching this, you're in your early 20s, you're trying to get your feet wet, even guys who are a little bit older and starting security for the first time, is Allied Universal a viable option? If you go on YouTube, you type in Allied Universal, you are going to get what I would assume would be 90% negative feedback on this company. You're going to find videos of people that are getting into fights, people that are getting into arguments, people that are quote unquote doing too much. You're going to find a lot of negative information. So that might sway you to say, man, I don't know. I don't want to go down this route. Well, I'm going to give you my 5 issues that I have with Allied Universal. And I want to say this before I go down this road. I am not saying this to be disrespectful. I'm not saying this to be, mean or biting. to Allied Universal. Clearly, they are very successful. They have a stronghold in the security community. And one day when I get my degree, I might try and get a job with them at a corporate level, right? So I don't want to burn any bridges, but let's get right into it. Number one, first and foremost, guys, it's low pay. All right. Some individuals may find that the compensation at Allied Universal Security is a little bit lower compared to industry standards or the cost of living in your area. I was listening to another security YouTube creator. He's in California, and he was like, look, they're paying these guys like $16, $17 an hour. I know here in Portland, I believe that the minimum wage now has raised to like 19 or 20. And that's here in Portland. If you're in California, there's no way that you can survive on $16, $17 an hour, especially considering what you have to put up with, what you have to go through, the things that you deal with in working in that environment, working for, low level unarmed security where, for the most part, you're just a scarecrow. That to me is absolutely unacceptable for a company of this size, with that much reach, with that much global presence, and that much revenue, for them to be paying their employees so low. And again, that's just in California. Imagine if you're in, Mississippi or Arkansas or Kentucky, some of these more rural areas, if the pay is that low in an area like California, I would have to just assume that the pay is even worse in some of those more rural areas. Absolutely unacceptable and not a good thing for anybody, regardless of your experience. Another issue would be the limited advancement opportunities. There might be concerns about the potential for career growth within the company, as some employees feel that opportunities for advancement are limited. Now, if we're being 100% honest, opportunities for advancement are limited across the spectrum of every security company, right? I think it is very important for anyone who is new to the industry. If you're looking to get into security, I want you to hear what I'm about to tell you. This industry is not set up for you to advance in a normal rank and structure like any other business, right? If you work for a grocery store, you can go in, you can start pushing the carts. You can work your way up to a junior associate. You can work your way up to working the checkout, becoming a low-level manager, work your way up to a manager, get yourself your own store, become a regional director. The former president of one of the large grocery chains here in Portland, he started as a cart guy, just pushing carts from the parking lot into the store. And one day he became the president of the company, multi-millionaire. That is not the path in private security. It's definitely not the path in a box retail type chain like Allied Universal. Now, if you want to advance within the security industry, you kind of have to go around the situation on the back end, right? That would be, getting your degree, getting certain levels of experience, and applying for certain jobs that might come up in a management position or a corporate position. But more than likely, it'll be very, very difficult for you to move through those ranks. So if that is something that's important to you, I would say, find a company that has an established movement process in terms of moving people up. And I will caution you, very, very few out there, whether it's a small company or a large company, or decide the route that you're going to take in order to get to the position that you want to get to. But starting at the bottom and then thinking that you're going to rise your way through, it's just not going to happen, whether that's Allied Universal or any other company. Okay. The next one would be inconsistent management. Employees may experience frustration if they perceive inconsistency or lack of effective communication from management within the organization. Now, this started out as a 5 things to look out for with Allied Universal, but I would think that most of the people who watch this, no matter what company you work for, every single thing that I'm highlighting is an issue across the board in private security, right? Inconsistent communication from management is something that you're going to deal with no matter what company you work for. It is a part of the makeup of our industry. Now, is that a good thing? Absolutely not. Should that be the way that it is? Absolutely not. Should it be tolerated? Hell no. But is that the reality of private security? Yes. So I don't think it's fair to just put the issues in terms of management on Allied Universal as though this is a universal issue with that company and that company alone. However, it's more pronounced because you tend to have people in the ranks, specifically at the bottom of Allied Universal, that don't have experience, right? So for any other company, smaller individual companies that have, former law enforcement, former military, people that have been in security for a longer time, when you have companies that have security guards who have been doing this for a living and for a career, and you have them throughout the ranks of that company, even if the management is not top notch, even if the management is not 100% dialed in, you have enough people with enough experience to kind of get things going in the right direction. One of the things that I have seen when I'm working with security guards who are maybe doing a third party contracting at the location where I work, and maybe they're responsible for one small area of that facility, is that when they don't have the involvement from the management, they don't have the experience and they don't have anyone working with them that has the experience. So it becomes a situation where they're just kind of left out in the wind. So the inconsistency in management, issues with communication from management, that's something that you're going to see across the board, primarily in the industry of security. I'm not putting that simply on Allied Universal. The problem is that in the lower ranks, in the rank and file, and the people that are out there on the street, there's not enough people with enough experience, legitimate experience. Okay. I'm not discounting the people that have been working for Allied Universal at one site for a long time. I know there's people out there in that situation, but they do not have that extended level of experience to be able to lead another person, primarily in situations that come up in today's day and age that can be dangerous and sometimes be deadly, or put them in a position of liability. So that is an issue. All right. Another issue would be work-life balance, depending on the specific role and location. Some employees might find that it's challenging to maintain a satisfactory work-life balance due to irregular hours and demanding schedules. If you're working for a company like Allied Universal, you don't have a lot of experience, you're younger, you don't have your armed license or a lot of certifications, what is going to be available to you in terms of shifts are going to be some of these less desirable, just kind of janky time, janky location type shifts. Okay. You might be working a parking garage and you're doing the midnight to 7. You might be doing a 12-hour shift in the middle of a warehouse at an Amazon location, anything and everything. Okay. Now, on one hand, it's work. And if you don't have a lot of experience or a lot of skills to where you can parlay that into something else in another industry, or if this is something that you really want to do when you're trying to get your feet wet, you kind of take what you can get, right? But that is an issue. When they talk about work-life balance and irregular hours, though, again, I can't just put this on Allied Universal because this is something that is universal to every security company. I have a very bad work-life balance in terms of the amount of hours that I work, the irregular hours that I work, and the amount of time that I put into doing this platform as well. So, that's kind of something that comes with the territory of being an adult, working in an industry that you're not working a salary, you're working hourly. You're going to have to make up as much money as you can, potentially in overtime. That is something that is often placed on Allied Universal. Again, I think it's a little unfair because that's something that we all deal with. The last thing would be the job nature. This is very important, guys, and the stress levels. Security roles can be inherently stressful, and individuals may find the nature of the job at Allied Universal to be challenging. Now, why I wrote that is because working for Allied Universal brings a multiplier to the issue of you working security. For anyone that is new to security, you have to understand that you are entering into an industry that is extremely negative, that is extremely toxic. Okay. And if you're younger, people who are in their early 20s, their mid 20s, it's difficult to work in this industry, to deal with the toxicity of the people that we interact with. If you're in a city like Portland where you're dealing with drug addicts, homeless people suffering from mental illness, every location where they have us, the reason why they have us there is because there's issues, right? They don't place us in locations that are not problematic. Okay. So every single day when you go to work, when you clock in, you are dealing with the lowest common denominator and worst level of people in society. I don't say that to say that homeless people in and of themselves are the worst level of society, but people that are living a lifestyle of drug addiction, of theft, of abuse, it is extremely, extremely taxing. Now, that's on a person that has experience, has life experience, is in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s. When you are new to security, and then you also add in the fact that you are young with very little life experience. And then on top of that, the multiplier of working for a company like Allied Universal, as much as I have tried very, very hard to not denigrate or say anything negative about Allied Universal in general, the reputation of that company and how they are looked at in terms of the general public and the people that are going to interact with you, you are talking about adding and piling on another 15, 20, 30, 40, 50% of everything negative that I've just laid out. There is a huge multiplier in terms of the stress, in terms of the negativity that comes with working for that company as related to the perception of the public. If you're a security guard and you're working for any company and you're working, let's say, a parking garage at a major sporting event, you're going to deal with a lot of toxic people. Okay. I don't care how positive you are, what a good officer you are, how you present yourself, how you carry yourself. Most people, if you are working for, any company, they're going to give you a hard time. You have that Allied Universal patch on. It is a universally understood and known company that it just does not have a very good reputation, right? And that's been earned by some of the things that a lot of the officers have done, a lot that's been caught on video, a lot that has gone viral. And to date, there does not seem to be any effort in training in terms of eradicating a lot of the negative behavior that comes from the guards with Allied Universal. But again, the company is so large, it's so big, it's so embedded in so many different areas, not just here in the country, but across the globe. It's hard to keep a handle on that, right? There's no excuse for it, but that's the reality. So if you take a job working for that company, you have to know that you are going to deal with a lot of negative people and a lot of negative interactions. And I'm concerned that a lot of people in today's day and age, specifically in this younger generation, that you guys can't handle that. And I think that is what leads to so much turnover in that company. I think that for the 4 years that I've been working at one specific location here in Portland, I have probably seen, I'm not exaggerating, I've probably seen 60 guards come and go. Some people last a day. Some people last a week, some people a couple of weeks, but it's horrible. So that would be it. My 2 cents. If you're wanting to get into the security industry, if you don't have the financial stability to pay for your guard cards or to get the training or the certifications, if you're young enough, or if you're a little bit older and you want to do this, I think that Allied Universal is a good launching pad. I do not think that long term it's a good opportunity for you. However, let me think about this. Me personally, the kind of person that I am, knowing everything that I just laid out, me personally, I would go to Allied Universal. I don't know if there's any wiggle room or negotiation in terms of finances, but I would probably say that the opportunity for you to shine and maybe get a low-level management position right off the bat or extremely early on is probably pretty high. I think that the right person could parlay an Allied Universal position into a decent situation. I don't know if financially, even at the management level, if it would be something that would be worth it to you over the long haul, but getting started in security, I think you can make it work. I really do. Now, if you're just going to be a guard, if you're just going to be working, low level security, unarmed security, great place to start. Not a place that I would say you should stay. Okay. But going in, you have to understand what you're walking into. Just know that these are going to be some of the issues you're going to deal with. But again, you are going to deal with a lot of these issues no matter what company you work for. I think short of a government facility, a nuclear power plant, maybe some corporate positions, you're going to deal with all of these things. But it's just going to be a lot more pronounced working for Allied Universal. So before we get off of here, let's get a couple comments. A lot of people commented on a community post that I put up the other day. I asked people what was their experience with Allied Universal, and if someone wanted to work for Allied Universal, if they had a friend that had a son or a daughter, 19, 20 years old, wanted to get into the industry, and they were thinking about taking a position with Allied Universal, what would be their response? And I think that we got, 30 or 40 comments on there, and their responses were amazing. I highly, highly recommend that you go to the community tab and check that out, because the dialogue from everybody was phenomenal, and a lot of things that I hadn't thought about myself. So let's get a couple of comments here. T says the answer is no. Very short, very simple, right to the point. No BS. He says, no, don't do it. Okay. PBE says, what's up, man? F Allied. They fired me for confronting shoplifters, and they got sued for not doing anything. Man, there are so many stories out there, right? I didn't want to go down that road or get into the weeds. And I thought about, I have probably 15, 20 videos of things that I've shared throughout the last couple of months when we're doing these podcasts and these streams, but I didn't want to go down that road. Guys, it's well documented, right? You can Google Allied Universal freak out, Allied Universal fight, Allied Universal fail, and you're going to get, hundreds of thousands of videos. And that's a shame, because I think that a lot of the negative imagery that surrounds security as a whole, it comes from the people that work for that company. On one hand, I don't blame the guards themselves, because clearly there's not a level of training or supervision that is being put in place to curtail that. But at the same time, it's just man, it's crazy, and we all suffer from it. We all, regardless of what company we work for, what level of security we provide, how informed we are, how trained we are all looked at like Allied Universal security guards. And the unfortunate thing is that from the legislative level and the municipality level, that's ultimately what, leaders in our cities want. They want us to be inept. They want us to be unable to perform. They want us to be in a position of subservience, because ultimately, I'm going to end up going on a political rant here. So let me back it up. Okay. All right. You made your comment, and it's well taken. All right. 1804 for unarmed hospital security in New Hampshire. New Hampshire's cost of living has to be crazy. Isn't that where the Hamptons is? Right? New Hampshire's real pinky up, highbrow type stuff. And hospital security, don't even get me started. $18.04, not working for me. Chris says I went from $13.50 and within 3 years jumped to $35. Wait. Was that working for Allied Universal? Chris, if that was working for Allied Universal, please give us more context. Please give us more context on what you were doing when you first started, and then what you ended up doing to get that pay rate jump to 35. I didn't even know that was possible. I definitely want to hear that. So please put that in the comments, and we'll bring it back up whenever I see it. Steve says they're the biggest company and they operate as such. Very out of touch with their guards. Yeah, unfortunately. Allied in Sacramento, California started buying all of the small companies. Yeah, I see that. I see that happening a lot. Isaiah, how are you, sir? They pay $21 an hour and higher. Their operations and management is better suited. They have benefits and they hire within. Okay. So see, guys, listen. This goes to show you, I don't know what I'm talking about. No. There are opportunities, and that's why, like, for me, I look at things a little bit differently. When I see a situation where 90% of the people are going left, I want to go right, and I see like where if there's a failure from a large percentage of the people, they're not, they don't have the work ethic, they don't have the drive, they don't have the motivation. I look at that and I go, man, there's opportunity here. You're talking about the largest company on a global scale that's literally swallowing up every single company in the game. How can I get a piece of that? Right? That's just how I personally look at it, how I personally see it. I see it as opportunity, but that's me, right? And we're talking about younger, less experienced guards who maybe don't have that outlook just yet. But between Isaiah and what Chris is saying, there is some opportunity here. If you can get $30 to $35 working for Allied Universal in a company where, maybe you're in a supervisory position or a leadership position, that's a great thing, because according to this, the supervisors and the leaders don't actually do very much, right? So you can be making a decent living and not have to expend a lot of energy. Steve says, since they pay for your guard card, they're sort of the Swift trucking company of the security industry. I know who Swift is because I had a friend that was a trucker. I don't know anything about the trucking industry, but I would love to know more about that. Henry says, Allied Universal so big that they don't care about you. They think about their reputation. As long as the monopoly on the security industry, it makes the rule when it's making money. I would agree with that. Absolutely. I know because I work for them. Isaiah says managers and supervisors, 50,000 to 100,000. I can get my phone out and pull up Indeed to see what they're doing if they're hiring over at Allied. Only stay if you know you'll be promoted to a supervisor or higher. Yeah, guys, those of you who have worked for Allied Universal, the fact that you're offering information and firsthand knowledge, that is so helpful. I can't thank you enough for that. I would recommend Allied Universal for novice security guards. Absolutely. Yes, but they're strict on their use of force policy. This is a company that attempts to avoid and escape challenging customers. We have a lot of videos on the avoiding and escaping of challenging customers. Unfortunately, that is the way that the country is going. It's not going to go back anytime soon. We live in a very litigious society, and we live in a society that placates to criminals and placates to the people that complain the loudest. I do not know or think that we're going to change that anytime soon. So for companies, even Allied Universal, they're looking at the liability. What's the point of enforcing policy, enforcing moral standards and codes on people when ultimately those in leadership, Democrats, they don't care, So I kind of have to understand, as much as I disagree with it, Allied didn't even give me a duty belt with OC spray for the first 4 months at my post. They made me remove tenants solo for months with nothing on me. I understand. I hear it, guys. I hear it. Hazman, what's up, brother? Hello, how are you? I just joined the stream. My phone was dead, so I could not get the notification. Well, lucky for you, it will be in the replay section of my page, and you can go back and listen to all of the amazing commentary that I gave in the first 15 minutes. Bro Morris, the moment they partner with SUSA, I don't know who SUSA, you should have seen the writing on the wall. Think Walmart, but with security. Yeah, I often call them the Walmart of the security industry. Absolutely. You need to ping me when you have time. I'm back in the game with some of my old friends from Pinkerton. Absolutely. I'll send you a message on Instagram or Signal. I got you. I worked for Allied for 6 months. Their executive promotion security officers pay $32 an hour here in Texas. $32 in Texas. If you lived outside of Austin, that would probably be really good. And the weather's better. Ooh, Texas. Henry says, if you want to make a difference in enforcement policy, you have to have your regional security companies. I agree. And he says Securitas. Yeah, okay, Securitas. Chris, I want to give you one more opportunity here. If you can tell us how you got that pay jump from 1350 to 35 within 3 years. I don't want to hold the stream up too much longer, but that would be great to know. So anyway, guys, just real quick, we talked about the pay. We talked about the issue of the irregular work-life balance. We talked about the lack of involvement from the management. And we talked about the issues that are specific to Allied Universal and also universal to security across the board. These are things that you guys have to understand are not specific to this one company, but they are amplified. Think of a volume knob. Allied Universal turns all of those problems all the way up to 10. If you're a fan of Spinal Tap, they turn it up to 11, right? So guys, look, I appreciate you being here, being a part of this stream. Thank you for sharing your inside information and knowledge, because I've never worked for Allied Universal, but I think it is so important to share this with people. Guys, listen, at the end of the day, you're going to have to make the decision that is best for you. If that's working for Allied Universal, then do it. If not, fuck it. All right. Y'all have a great night, and I will see you tomorrow.
I'm gonna go ahead. I run it up in right kind of what? Nigga, shit so fucking hard, yeah. What? Sad, I've been swerving and the fag, I've been swerving and the fag out the beat.